Freedom Fighters, I'm coming back at you with another quick episode of Truck Talk. Usually I have the truck off, but it's freaking freezing and this puppy just warmed up. So I'm going to be sitting here on idle for a little bit. Hopefully the audio's not too bad. But anyway, I'm not going to do the normal kind of weekly wrap-up kind of deal. Just going to talk on a topic real quick that I've been thinking about for a while. But recently it got thrust back into the headlines, a while back with the Luigi Mangino or whatever, Manaroni case. I forget the dude's name, but you know who I'm talking about. The New York CEO hunter. But so the topic's going to be vigilante justice. And do you believe in vigilante justice? Should we be dishing out vigilante justice? And in that case, it was funny how when it first happened, it almost seemed like everybody was kind of unified on it. And I know I said I was going to tell my own story. I'll probably get into that another time. But I feel like every American has some kind of story getting screwed over by insurance companies, or healthcare in general. I mean, car insurance is a whole nother thing, home insurance, but it's all a scam, right? All these insurance companies are scams. They never pay out. They want the deductibles are forever raising. They want you to pay a stupid amount of money, and then something happens, and they're like, oh, but we don't cover that, or, you should have got this plan. You should have this. It's always some garbage. But, anyway, so when it happened, everyone was kind of like, on lockstep, and then, the left kind of ran with it, and the right started distancing themselves, like, hey, again, in the capitalistic type of society, they're like, you can't blame this guy because, he's a head of a multi-million-dollar insurance company and he's a father, which I understand. I'm on board with all that. I understand, but I understand both angles. Like you're screwing people over, but then they're going to say he's not screwing people over. He's actually acting in behalf of his shareholders. It just happens your family member's on the receiving end of the one who's not getting their care, while, the big wigs in suits are the ones, on Wall Street, or the shareholders making investments are the ones getting the paper. But, as far as that situation, like I say, I understand both sides of the argument. I'm not really for it, or against it, really. I'm kind of in that gray area. But, there are certain areas, what I kind of wanted to talk about, where I'm all in for, vigilante justice. Recently there was a case a while back where I forget the guy's name. He was an MMA fighter, a pretty big one too. Like a big name, well-known fighter. I believe it was his, maybe his brother's daughter, his like cousin or whatever. I forget what you even call that, but like your nephew, but I think that's a male. I forget what it is. But she got, touched, and the family told him, like, we know who it is or whatnot, and he went after him. And I think he went on a high-speed car chase down the highway and started, popping shots off at him. And I can't remember if he actually got him or not. But there was another case just like that where I think a father caught a guy in his daughter's bedroom. And that one, I remember, he blew him away. And he got charged for that. There's been a couple cases like this recently. And then most recently, another case where that judge got caught, texting or sexting this dude's daughter, who he supposedly knew, and he went into the courtroom and blasted him away. And everyone was like, speculating, like, what happened? Like, how'd this guy get into the courtroom, with a firearm? And I can't remember if he was like one of the like bailiffs or court marshals or whatever you call them. And they were like, maybe he had access to a firearm within the building or something like that. But he caught the dude red-handed. And, you know, there's one thing I give a pass for as far as, because again, I'm not, you know, a violent person necessarily. I'm not rooting for violence. I'm not, you know, advocating. And you know the whole disclaimer. You know, I do not support you doing any illegal, unlawful actions, and don't go do anything and say, you know, I told you to, because here I am telling you not to. But if I were to ever give a free pass, you know, to chomos, you know, and stuff like that, or, you know, they deserve it. So if they ever happen to go missing or something happens to them, again, you won't hear me on here advocating you to do it or supporting it, but, you know, I'll be like, you know, that one can pass. But, yeah, when I see these stories, you know, of fathers going after, you know, their accusers, and again, that's another thing. You have to be sure. So when they're caught red-handed, like, obviously, if you come in your daughter's, you know, bedroom and there's a dude, you know, on top of her, or she's screaming and there's a guy crawling in the window, that's as, you know, wide open. That's the Golden Gates. Or not even the Golden Gates. That's you send them to the pit of hell, you know. You put them down. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I mean, that's not even vigilante justice. That's just taking care of business. But, you know, and then as far as the guy who did the research, or I guess he was in his daughter's phone and said, you know, what is the judge doing, you know, texting you this stuff or whatnot, and he got the information, and then he went into his office because supposedly they were friends, and then he called the phone and was like, man, this is you. Like, you're sending this stuff. You're the guy. You're caught. And usually what I have a problem with vigilante justice is the details get skewed and there's, you know, a possibility you get it wrong. Especially with secondhand knowledge. Like, you tell a friend or something, hey, man, you know, I know this guy who's doing this, and then you just take it upon yourself to go waste this dude. You really don't know. You know, you would really have to see the evidence. You might end up executing an innocent man, and then that's no good. So, I mean, and, you know, you definitely have to know what you're doing. You have to have the details right and make sure. But, and I kind of wanted to broaden this into a wider, you know, perspective of, you know, just stuff going on in the political scene. You know, we had the Gretchen Whitmore case or whatever, the supposed plot to kidnap her and take her out. You got the guy at the Pennsylvania rally popping off at Trump. And, you know, these are people who, even though the guys in the Whitmore case were set up, you know, by feds, ultimately what I'm saying is at some point are the people gonna take it into their hands because we never see justice. And it's ultimately like where I think it's gonna go. Like I said, well, I believe we're already in a civil war. I have for a long time, and you're only seeing it start to unfold now, where I think it's gonna turn into people taking, you know, pot shots at their most hated politician. And they're going to be like, there is no justice. No one's going to hold these people accountable. People are going to feel like it's in their hands. They're going to have to take care of it. And I remember when the whole thing with Trump happened, which of course I'm not in favor of, and I'm not in support of, you know, you doing anything like that. And obviously, you know, having been a supporter of Donald Trump, and even though, you know, like I say, I know he's not going to do all the stuff he says he's going to do. And I'm going to make that a whole another video. But I still don't want the dude, you know, I don't want any harm to come to him or anything like that, or his family. And you know, neither, you know, I mean, it's hard for me to even say, like, you know, Biden, Obama, Clinton's, you know, these people are such scum. I do feel like they need to be arrested. They do need to be held accountable, but I'm certainly not going to, wish them taken out on, live television like Trump almost had, but, basically with that, it's just where I think we're going. And I'm going to further talk into the whole thing. Trump's getting sworn in here soon. We're going to talk about, his presidency, and I'm seeing a lot of weird things happen that I want to talk about, but I'm going to leave it there, man. Let me know your guys' opinion on vigilante justice. Do you support that? What do you think about it? And until the next one, you know what it is, man. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us, so get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.